And away we go. It is the nightcap, day drinking edition, pre-Super Bowl edition here on BearcatJournal.com. Live from the Cincy Light Studios, brought to you, as always, by our good friends at Hail Mary's. Go see them. They're in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue, right in the Dora District. You can walk from bar to bar with your drinks, but no need for that. You can just hang out at Hail Mary's. 27 TVs, 9-screen video wall. Not a bad seat in the house. They subscribe to every sports package DirecTV offers. They can stream all the games, and Cincinnati sports will always be on the video wall. Brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines. And not only do they pour the coldest beer around, but they do so in 32.8 degree frosted glasses. Go get you an ice cold Cincy Light. All right, Aaron. Things are, we have moved past the halfway point. Last Sunday, we were at the halfway point in Big 12 play. This Sunday, we're now at like almost 60%. As 12 of the 20 games, right? Exactly 60%. 12 of the 20 games have been completed, and we're starting to get some separation, Aaron. We're starting to, some things are starting to make sense. Some things are starting to get a little less unclear, maybe, in the middle of the pack. Let's get it rolling. As we start off with one of the best games of the weekend, if not maybe the best game on paper of the weekend coming in. Arizona 82, Texas Tech 73. Arizona moves to 11-1 in Big 12 play. They were not great coming in from the non-conference, but boy, the Wildcats are cooking, Aaron.
Yeah, somebody finally slowed down Tech. Tech looked like they were on a roll. I wasn't sure the game was going to go this way, but good on Arizona. They got some things going for them. 5 dudes in double digits. My goodness. The lowest of those 5 at 14. The highest of those tied at 16. Caleb Love and Jaden Bradley both have 16 there. You have Henry Visar and KJ Lewis off your bench, both with 15, and Toby Awaka with 14 and 11.
Vesser and Awaka are becoming a pretty dominant 1-2 punch down low for Arizona. Biggest thing, for Texas Tech, they had been shooting the lights out. They were still respectable, 36.4%. But outside of Toppin and Williams, they really didn't get – and Williams was a three-point shooter in this one, 1 of 8 from 2. So they didn't get a lot inside the line. Only shot 37% from the floor, 36% from 3. That's kind of what cooled them off. And I kept waiting, Aaron. I waiting for them to make a push in the final 10 minutes. And Arizona was able to keep them at arm's length. Time to start really watching out for this Arizona team, because they got some dudes and they can spread it out. And like you said, I mean, they got 2 guys on the bench that can get you 15, 20 at any time. Yeah. And they're dangerous. They're dangerous.
That's not to take anything whatsoever away from Texas Tech.
No, Arizona just played great. Like, Arizona played better. It wasn't that Tech played bad. Arizona was just a better team last night. Houston only wins by 10 at Colorado. They were up 4 at the half. They win the second half by 6. A little surprised here, Aaron, but I mean, credit to Colorado for still fighting. The big news is, though, it does sound like LJ Cryer, according to Kelvin Sampson, a significant injury to his knuckle. And that's not good if you're Houston. They are not in a great spot if they start losing some key dudes to injuries.
No, Houston's fallen off a little bit. I was watching some of that game as I was waiting for the Bearcats to start, and it was kind of back and forth between Houston and Colorado. 4 points, 6 points, 4 points. Houston struggled to at any point pull away, and that's great on Colorado to have not completely given up on the entirety of the season, as they still remain defeated in Big 12 play after 12 games, which is nuts. But it seems that Houston is showing some chinks in the armor.
Cryer says it's not a big deal and he's for sure playing. After the game, Sampson said it might be a significant injury. So we'll see how it goes. That one, Houston looks like they're in maybe one of those little lulls. That here's the difference with Houston. They hit those lulls and still win. Like Iowa State hit that lull and lost 3 games. Houston, typically, when they hit those lulls, they still find a way to grind you out and get a win in the 50s or 60s until their offense gets back going. So that'll be interesting. Iowa State, after that 3-game slide, they licked their chops and beat the hell out of TCU, 82-52. Milos Momcilovic is back for Iowa State, and that seemed to be kind of the difference for them. Such a unique weapon with his size, 6'11", able to stretch the floor. He gets them kind of going.
Well, you also had Lipsy going all the way back to earth, as he only has 1 point in this one. And Curtis Jones goes back to the bench with Momcilovic back, and he just has a quiet 24, going 7 of 11 and 5 of 6 from 3. So it seems that getting back into these roles for Lipsy, not being the scorer option, and Curtis Jones going back to the bench worked out. Now, whether that's going to continue to work out, as Curtis Jones was doing some big things when he was in the starting rotation with Momcilovic out. So I'm curious to see what that means for Iowa State going forward. Just something to keep an eye on as things are trending back to Lipsy not scoring and Curtis Jones just going off.
Lipsy had 5 assists. Keyshawn Gilbert also not a great night, 8 points, but 8 assists. So 13 assists between Lipsy and Gilbert. Like you said, 24 for Jones, 14 for Deshaun Jackson and Momcilovic, and then 13 for Josh Jefferson. TCU, the dreaded no players in double figures. We've been there all too often. I'm not going to make fun of it. We've lived that life. I've read the book. It was not a fun ending. Aaron, do you know who the best team in college basketball is over the last 5 games, over the last 2.5 weeks? According to Evan Maya.
I don't know who that is either. So
it's analytics site. You're allowed to
that's why I
break
don't
it
know
down.
Who that is.
Kansas State over the last 5 weeks, they are 5-0. They have gotten some big scalps. They are playing like the team we expected them to be at the start of the season, maybe even a little better. They have pulled even at 6-6 in the conference after taking down Kansas 81-73. Doug McDaniel was outstanding. David Gesson with 20. McDaniel with 15. Hawkins and Jones
15 of 11 assists for McDaniel.
Yeah. 15 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds. That's not too bad. And then you had Hawkins with 12, 8, and 5. Like 2 guys.
Did you hear
with the triple-double?
You hear what Hawkins said after the game?
Mm-mm.
He was asked if Hunter Dickinson has become a rival. He's played him, I guess, 7 times in his college career. He said, he said, I guess you can call him a rival, but I'm 6-1 against him.
I love it. Love a little rivalry smack talk. I mean, Kansas, they put KJ Adams back in the starting lineup. They put Flory on the bench. Adams had 13, but Flory only had 6 and 4. Dickinson with 21, Mayo with 15, but foul trouble for DeJuan Harris when I was watching. He ended up with 3, but he had 3 pretty quick. He only had 4 points. Rylan Griffin only had 3. Kansas is kind of
weird.
Who we thought they were. Like
they're weird.
They play kind of to the level of their competition, don't they? It feels like.
Look, I know that KJ Adams is the second time he's been back in the starting rotation.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're doing great with KJ Adams in the starting rotation.
I think they look better with Flory in there.
Kansas is just a weird team. It seems that it just almost feels like 5 individual players. It's like when you're playing 2K and you have to go to the gym and you got 5 dudes just meshing Like they're not really figuring it out. They're just there to play the game and get the credit. That just seems what is going on with Kansas to me. They aren't playing as a team. It's not fluid.
If you look at the Kansas like social media and message boards, they're ready to move on from Bill Self.
Good luck.
They want him to retire. They want Bill Self to retire.
And hire who?
It's a great question.
Will Wade.
I mean, that would be perfect for Will Wade. Let's be honest.
Makes total sense.
UCF continues to not be interested in playing defense as Baylor scores 45 in the first half, 46 in the second. They beat the Knights 91-76. Ouch. Things are trending the wrong way for Johnny Dawkins after catching some people by surprise early in conference play. Everybody has identified that defense as Swiss cheese and is having career nights when they play the Golden Knights. See what I did there?
What about yeah, I saw that. What about 3 dudes scoring double digits off your bench?
I mean, everybody got in the action.
More dudes in double digits off the bench than in the starting lineup. You have Jaden Nunn with 12. You had Jalen Celestine with 12. You had Langston Love with 16. And then, of course, in the starting lineup, you had Norchad Omer with 18 and VJ Edgecombe with 17.
Big news for Baylor is getting Edgecombe back. Yeah,
sure.
Getting Edgecombe back, and then you get to move a guy back to the bench. You give yourself a little bit more depth because they were at times playing with just 6 guys. Now they're back to like 7 or 8. So there's not a whole lot to say about UCF other than they're going to try to outscore you. And I think teams have started to figure that out. I mean, Cincinnati shot 58% from the floor last week, and then Baylor shooting 53% from the floor last night. Teams are just going to the rim and getting buckets.
Did Ojin Wuna get injured in this one? He only played 5 minutes.
He only played 5 minutes, yeah. So maybe he did.
Something to keep an eye on.
West Virginia back on track, 72-61 over Utah. Surprisingly, Javon Small only with 14 in this one for West Virginia. Amani Hansberry with 17, Jonathan Powell with 11. Joseph Yesufu has been excellent for them off the bench here over the past couple of weeks. He puts in 14. And West Virginia, again, plays great defense, grinds out Utah. Gabe Madsen with 7, Mason Madsen with 5, Keanu Dawes with 14, and Jake Wallen with 10. The Utes head to Cincinnati Tuesday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Utah brings coming off of the loss against West Virginia. Prior to that, they had beaten Colorado, but they lost against Oklahoma State. So I don't – if the Cincinnati team can put together 3 in a row, they've not done that yet in conference play. Coach doesn't want to hear that stat from Keegan. He didn't know that stat, and he is not here for that stat. He doesn't care about those stats. He just wants to know what is on to the next game. But we'll see what Utah brings.
And then finally, just wrapped up in Stillwater, Oklahoma State, 86-73 over Arizona State. Oklahoma State finding its legs. Arizona State not. They are down to 3-9 in Big 12 play. Oklahoma State at 4-8. And I'm a little surprised by this one. It's on the road. Arizona State hasn't been as good on the road as at home. But only 9 minutes for Jaden Quaintance. He only scored 3 points. That's a big one. If they're going to win, it's going to be tough for them to do it without Quaintance. Alston Mason with 25. Sanon with 17. Bashir Jihad with 10. Amir Ali with 12 off the bench. And then for Oklahoma State, Jamron Keller, 14. And then 5 guys with 10, Aaron. Robert Jennings, Arturo Dean, Khalil Brantley, Brandon Newman, and Patrick Sumnick. Balanced attack for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are starting to find their life a little bit, find their legs a little bit in conference.
Going back to Jaden Quaintance, 4 games in a row now that Arizona State has lost. In those 4 games, Jaden Quaintance is 9, 7, 3, and 3 points, totaling 22 points in 4 games. That's not how you're going to win when arguably your best player is only scoring 22 in 4 games.
This is why we always talk about, Aaron. No matter how talented you are, this league is very hard on freshmen. Very hard on freshmen. And Jaden Quaintance is going through it a little bit right now.
Yeah, we know what that's like.
Yeah. Real quick look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock on ESPN, Baylor and Houston. We'll see if Houston can kind of shake off the cobwebs of the little funk that they're in. Baylor just scored 91 yesterday. So maybe they scored all their points a game too early. We'll see. I'll guarantee you one thing, Aaron. I guarantee Baylor shoots below 53% from 2 in this game.
Well, Houston's favored by 8.5, so that's a lot of points against a team that just came off of a 90 burger.
Yeah. Tuesday, Iowa State at UCF. Now that Iowa State's clicking again, they might score 108 on UCF. BYU at West Virginia. Arizona at Kansas State. That's going to be, Kansas State's playing as well as anybody in the league right now. Arizona tied with Houston in first. That one's in the Octagon of Doom. So keep an eye on that one. Colorado, Kansas. I think Kansas will get back on track. And then Wednesday, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Arizona State at Texas Tech. So a little bit of a lull this week. It doesn't seem like a lot of great matchups. There's a couple.
Well, I know I got my eyes set on Tuesday, and like I said, if you can get it to 3 in a row, that's the first time in the Big 12 era for our Cincinnati Bearcats. Real quick, Houston and Arizona tied at 11-1 at the top of the standings. Texas Tech in 3rd place, alone at 9-3. Iowa State alone in 4th place at 8-4. Kansas and Baylor tied for 5th place at 7-5. BYU, West Virginia, and Kansas State tied in for 7th place at 6-6. Then you have Utah and TCU tied at 5-7 each. Cincinnati, UCF, and Oklahoma State there at 4-8 in 13th place. And then Arizona State alone in 15th place, 3-9. I'm sorry, that was 12th place. Yeah, I was where I was at mentally in that one. Arizona State there at 15th and at 3-9, and Colorado 0-12, still defeated in the basement in 16th.
Oof. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Everybody have a great time tonight watching the Super Bowl. I know Aaron is not pulling for the Cincinnati Bearcats, Travis Kelce and Brian Cook, because they wear their own uniform.
Wore my green
on.
Fly Eagles fly.
But there you go. Everybody have a great night. We will see you for the BBP tomorrow night. That's the nightcap, live from the Cincy Light Studios, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!